The great metal doors of the throne room opened with a deep, heavy sound. The guards stepped forward, dragging a broken man behind them. His face was covered in dust and blood. His arms were tied in strong iron chains that cut into his skin. He wore the torn remains of a soldier's uniform. This was Commander Rain, the last warrior from Earth. Alien guards pushed him hard. He stumbled but did not fall. He raised his head slowly and looked around. The throne room was large and cold, built with black stone and glowing green lights. Giant statues of alien kings stood along the walls, watching like silent ghosts. At the far end, on a tall floating platform, sat the ruler of this place, Queen Saraxa. She was not like the others. Her skin was silver blue, her eyes deep red, glowing like two stars. Her long hair floated around her as if underwater. She wore a robe made of light and glass. Everyone feared her. She had ended the war with Earth by destroying 5 cities in one night. And now she looked down at Rain like he was nothing. "Bring the human forward," she said. Her voice was calm, smooth, and deadly. The guards pushed Rain to his knees. He said nothing. He didn't beg. He didn't cry. He just stared at the floor, breathing slowly. Saraxa stood and walked down the steps of her throne. The room went silent. Even the guards didn't move. Everyone waited for the queen to speak again. She came closer to Rain. Her footsteps were soft but full of power. "So," she said, "this is the last warrior of Earth, the great Commander Rain. Look at him now, shackled, defeated." The crowd of alien nobles laughed. But Rain didn't react. Then slowly, Saraxa stepped even closer. She looked into his face. Her eyes narrowed. Something changed. "Your voice," she said softly. "I know your voice." The room went silent again. Everyone looked at the queen, confused. Rain lifted his head. His face was bruised and swollen, but he looked directly at her now. He spoke just 2 words. "I remember." Suddenly the queen took a step back. Her lips parted in shock. Her breathing changed. The guards looked at her unsure. She raised her hand, but not in anger. In surprise, "No," she whispered. "It can't be you." Rain gave a small, tired smile. "It is." A memory struck her like lightning. Years ago. She was not a queen then. Just a scared young girl, running from death on a burning world. And a human soldier had found her. He had hidden her. He had protected her. He had risked everything, but she had never known his name. "I thought you were dead," she whispered. "I was supposed to be," Rain said. "But not yet," the nobles began to whisper. The guards looked nervous. Something was wrong. The queen's voice had changed. She was no longer powerful. She sounded human. Saraxa turned to the guards. "Leave us," she ordered. The head guard hesitated. "My queen, now," she shouted, her voice loud and sharp. The guards bowed and quickly left the room. The doors closed with a loud thud. The throne room was now silent, with only 2 people inside. Rain slowly stood, his chains clinking with each movement. "So," he said, "you remember me." Saraxa walked back slowly. "You saved me. On Zera 5, you carried me through fire." "And now," Rain said, "you've burned my world." Her face turned sad, almost guilty. "I didn't want this. I wasn't supposed to become this." Rain looked around. "But you are this now. Queen of Ashes, killer of billions." Saraxa looked at him, her red eyes glowing with something between pain and confusion. "Then why didn't you kill me back then?" Rain stepped forward. "Because you were just a scared child, because I believed you could be better." A long silence passed between them. "I owe you," she said quietly, "more than anyone ever will. That is why I will not let them execute you." "Not yet," Rain frowned. "Then what happens now?" She turned toward the throne. "Now, I have to decide if I want to save what's left of this galaxy, or rule it in chains." "And me?" Rain asked. Saraxa looked over her shoulder. "You're going to help me decide." The camera would slowly fade out as the tension hangs in the air. The doors to the throne room stayed shut. Outside, the alien guards stood still like statues, confused by the Queen's sudden order. Inside, only 2 voices could be heard, one human, one alien, echoing through the silent, glowing chamber. Commander Rain stood with chains still locked around his wrists. Queen Saraxa stood across from him, her silver-blue skin reflecting the green lights of the room. Her breath was uneven. Her hands trembled, not from fear but from something else. Something old. "I never forgot your voice," she said, barely louder than a whisper. "It stayed in my memory." Like a ghost, Rain said nothing. He simply watched her. She turned away from him and touched a hidden panel on the wall. A bright circle of light appeared, revealing a secret door. Without a word, she motioned for him to follow. Rain hesitated. Was this a trick, a trap? But something in her eyes, a strange mix of regret and longing, told him it wasn't. The door closed behind them and the light around them changed. They now stood in a long crystal hallway. The walls showed moving images like windows into memories. Saraxa walked slowly, her fingers brushing against one glowing panel. A scene flickered to life, a younger version of herself alone in a burning forest. Alien soldiers screamed, fire rained from the sky, and then a human hand reached out. Rain saw himself and younger, stronger, without scars, holding a child in his arms. "You were the only enemy who saved me," she said. "The rest of your kind brought death, but you protected life." "I didn't know you were royalty," he said. "I wasn't," she replied. "I was the forgotten daughter. The extra. My sister was supposed to rule. I was supposed to stay hidden." "What happened to her?" he asked. Saraxa paused. Her voice was hollow. "She died. During the escape. The fire was too much. I lived because of you, and so I became queen in her place." Rain looked away. "So the child I saved became the one who burned my world?" Saraxa's voice cracked. "I didn't want war. I wanted peace. But the High Council, the warlords, they pushed me. Said humans were a threat. That if I didn't strike first, I'd lose my throne and my life." Rain clenched his fists. "So you killed billions to protect yourself?" "Yes," she said. "And I hated every second of it." They reached the end of the hallway. Another door opened. Inside was a small chamber, quiet, dark, with only a soft humming sound. In the center floated a black cube covered in strange symbols. Saraxa stepped back. "This is the real reason you're still alive." Rain looked at the cube. "What is it?" "A memory vault," she said. "It holds your voice, your DNA, your actions from that day. I saved it. I kept it hidden even from my own people. I didn't know why. Until today." Rain stepped closer. The cube glowed brighter. It began to show more images. Him carrying the child, hiding her in a ruined building, tending her wounds, and finally vanishing into smoke as alien ships arrived. "You were declared dead that day," Saraxa said. "But I searched. I always hoped." Rain frowned. "Why? Why keep my memory hidden?" "Because I thought I owed you," she said. "But now I understand, you're the key." He turned to her. "Key to what?" She looked away. "To stopping this empire from becoming something worse. My people are planning something far darker than you know. A new weapon. One that destroys minds, not just bodies. They call it the Silence. It will erase entire species from history." Rain's heart pounded. "You're serious?" "Yes, and the worst part. They plan to test it. On Earth." He stepped forward. "Then help me stop them." Saraxa looked at him, her face torn between fear and hope. "I want to. But if I move against them, they'll kill me. I need someone who can act in shadows. Someone they don't expect. Someone like you." Rain lifted his chained hands. "Hard to act like this." She touched the wall again. The chains unlocked with a quiet click. For the first time since his capture, Rain was free. But freedom came with a price. "I'm not doing this for you," he said. "I know," she replied. "You're doing it for your people. Just like I did." Rain turned to the dark hallway ahead. He didn't trust her. Not fully, but the truth was clear, a greater threat was coming. And for now, she was his only ally. Behind them, the cube continued to glow, showing one final image. Rain and a young alien child holding hands under a burning sky. The silent chamber echoed with a soft hum from the memory cube, but Rain had already turned away from it. His hands, once chained, were now free, but his path was far from clear. Beside him, Queen Saraxa stood still, her silver-blue face tense. They were allies now, but only because they had no other choice. Rain looked at her. If what you say is true, we don't have much time. Saraxa nodded. They're planning to test the silence in 3 days. On one of your colonies, Earth 7. Rain's eyes narrowed. That colony has civilians, families, children. I know, she said quietly. That's why I brought you here. I can't stop them alone. Rain's thoughts raced. He had spent months as a prisoner of war, beaten and humiliated with no hope. But now he had something more dangerous than weapons. He had a cause. They exited the secret chamber through another hidden door, stepping into a narrow tunnel. This place and deep beneath the palace when they was ancient. Dust filled the air. Stone walls hummed with energy from old systems, long forgotten by most of the Empire. This was once a secret escape path, Saraxa explained. Before I was queen, only my sister and I knew it existed. Rain glanced at her. You trusted me with it. Why? She hesitated. Because you didn't kill me when you had the chance. That kind of mercy is rare in our world. The tunnel led them to a service bay near the edge of the palace walls. From there, Rain could see the alien city below. Floating towers, blinking sky bridges, and patrol ships cruising like sharks through the clouds. He studied the patrol patterns. We'll need a ship. You'll get one, Saraxa said. But first, we need help. She led him to a nearby comms chamber, guarded by 2 of her most loyal servants, creatures with insect-like eyes and sharp black armor. They bowed low to the queen but gave Rain a long, cold stare. He is with me now, she said. He speaks for Earth. They did not answer, but one opened the gate. Inside, Saraxa activated a secure channel. A hologram flickered to life. An alien woman with short horns and golden eyes. Her voice came sharp. My queen, this line is forbidden. I know, General Tane, Saraxa replied, but I need you to listen. The general saw Rain and instantly frowned. The human? He's still alive. Rain stepped forward. You don't have time for anger, General. Your people are building something that can't be controlled. The silence will turn on you too. She laughed coldly. Do you think I fear death, human? No, Rain said. But you fear being forgotten. That's what the silence does. It erases everything, names, history, even memory. Tane said nothing, but her golden eyes blinked slowly. Doubt had entered her mind. If we move now, Saraxa said, we can stop the activation. We just need a strike team. You're asking for rebellion, the general replied. I'm asking for survival, the queen said. The call ended. No answer, no promise. But something had changed. Rain turned to Saraxa. That's one. How many more can we count on? She looked out over the glowing towers. Maybe 4. Maybe none. They'll come if they believe you're real. Then show them, Rain said. Show them I'm not dead. That night, a secret broadcast was made, hijacked from one of the old Earth war channels. Rain stood in front of the camera, silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. I am Commander Rain. They told you I died. They lied. Images of the destroyed Earth cities played behind him. They wanted to bury us, silence us, erase us. But we are still here. And I'm coming back. His voice spread across the systems. Through deep space radios, secret rebel camps, hidden Earth satellites. It reached miners, smugglers, soldiers in hiding. It reached those who had lost hope, and some of them stood up. That same night, in the lower levels of the alien city, a group of human slaves received the message. One of them, a woman named Arya who once served under Rain, dropped her tools and looked to the sky. He's alive, she whispered. She turned to the others. Get the old suits ready. It's time. Back in the palace, Saraxa and Rain stood on a balcony, watching the lights flicker across the city. They'll come for us now, she said. They already were, Rain replied. Now we'll be ready. Below, in the shadows, whispers of rebellion had begun. Quiet at first. But soon, they would rise like fire, and Rain would be at the center of it. Darkness surrounded them as they moved deeper into the old tunnels below the palace. The air was thick with dust and metal. Faint blue lights glowed along the walls, flickering like dying stars. Commander Rain moved silently, his hand gripping a stolen alien rifle. Beside him, Queen Saraxa followed, her robe replaced with simple armor. She looked like someone ready to run, not rule. Rain paused at a junction. "You're sure this tunnel leads to the core?" Saraxa nodded. "Yes, but it hasn't been used in decades. Not since the wars before you humans arrived." The ground shook beneath them just slightly. A low humming sound rose from the depths below. Rain glanced at her. "That doesn't sound like an empty tunnel." "It isn't," she said quietly. "There are guardians. Old machines. Half alive, half mad." He didn't like that answer, but he kept moving. The plan was simple. Reach the energy core under the capital city, plant signal devices, and open a path for rebel forces to strike when the time came. But nothing was simple on this alien world. As they walked deeper, strange symbols lit up on the walls. The air grew colder. They entered a large open chamber, round and hollow, with statues lining the walls. But these weren't statues of kings or queens, they were people, real people, frozen in stone. Rain stepped closer to one. The expression on the face was pure terror, hands raised as if begging for help. "They tried to escape," Saraxa said behind him. "Long ago. The core guards don't just kill, they freeze your mind, lock your body in place, alive forever." Rain stared at the statue. He placed a hand on it. "Cold as ice, we have to keep moving," he said. They crossed the chamber in silence. Every shadow felt alive. Every step echoed like a scream. The further they went, the louder the hum became. Not like a machine, but like breathing. Soon, they reached a spiral tunnel, sloping down, lit by red veins of energy running through the walls. "This is it," Saraxa said. "Beyond this point no one is allowed. Not even the queen." Rain raised an eyebrow. "Then how do you know the way?" She hesitated. "Because my sister came here once. She told me about it before she died. She said, 'The core speaks.'" Rain frowned. "Speaks?" She said it called her by name. Before Rain could ask more, the wall beside them cracked open with a loud snap. A long, black machine arm reached out, fast as lightning. Rain pushed Saraxa to the ground and fired. The beam hit the machine, cutting through wires. Sparks flew. The creatures screeched, not with a voice, but with a deep electric sound that vibrated their bones. More machines crawled out from the walls, long, twisted things with glowing eyes and blade fingers. "Run!" Rain shouted. They ran down the spiral, chased by the machines. Blades cut through the air behind them. Sparks lit the walls. The core was close now. They could feel it, pulsing like a giant heart. At the bottom of the spiral, they crashed through a final gate and entered a giant chamber. It was not made of metal or stone. It looked alive, pulsing walls, floating lights. A large black orb hovered in the center, breathing like a sleeping beast. Rain aimed his weapon, but Saraxa stopped him. "No, this isn't the enemy." The orb turned slightly, as if watching them. Then a deep voice filled the chamber, not from speakers, but inside their minds. "You have returned." Rain stepped back. "What is this thing?" Saraxa stared at it. "The core. The true power of the Empire. Not a machine. A being. You carry the blood of mercy," the voice said to Saraxa. "And you carry the fire of earth," it said to Rain. The machines stopped chasing them. The core had taken control. Rain spoke carefully. "Are you the silence?" "No," it said. "But I fear it. The silence is coming. Built by your kind. Stolen by hers. It will erase all." Saraxa looked shaken. "Then help us stop it." "I cannot," said the core. "But I can show you the truth." The orb glowed. Images filled the chamber. Earth scientists, secret labs, a dark weapon created in fear of alien attack. A weapon stolen by traitors and given to the Empire's warlords. Rain saw faces he recognized. Friends, commanders, betrayers. He clenched his fists. "They used our fears to control us," the core dimmed. "You must choose, Rain of Earth, fight, or be erased." Behind them, the machines retreated into the walls. The path forward opened, not just through tunnels, but through truth. Rain turned to Saraxa. "Let's finish this." They stepped forward into the light, rebels hunted and now chosen by the core. The air felt heavier as Rain and Queen Saraxa stepped through the glowing passage that opened at the core's command. The tunnel behind them closed like a mouth sealing shut. There was no way back now. Rain's steps were slow but steady. His thoughts raced. He had seen the truth. The silence, the galaxy's most dangerous weapon, wasn't alien. It had been born on Earth, not in battle but in fear. Ahead, strange energy lines lit the walls with soft gold light. The chamber they entered was round and massive. At the center hovered a large machine shaped like a black heart. Tubes ran into it from every wall, feeding it power. Symbols pulsed across its surface in an unknown language. Yet somehow, Rain understood them. Saraxa stared at the machine. This is it. The silence, it didn't look like a weapon. It didn't have guns or rockets. It just floated silently, its surface rippling like dark water. Rain stepped closer. What does it do exactly? Saraxa's voice was low. It doesn't destroy your body. It takes your mind, your thoughts, your memories, your history. It leaves you standing, breathing, but empty. Like a ghost, Rain touched the surface. It felt warm, almost alive. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the machine. Not mechanical, not alien, it was his own. Project Echo, human interface activated. Rain stepped back, shocked. What the hell? The machine lit up. Lights danced across it. More voices followed. Voices from his past. His team, his old commander. His sister, Saraxa, looked at him. It knows you. It was built with your voice, your code. Then the truth hit him like a lightning bolt. This thing is part of me. He remembered now. Years ago, before the war began, Rain was part of a secret Earth research group. They were told to build a defense system, a machine that could confuse enemy minds in case Earth was invaded. But the project was shut down and too risky. Too dangerous. Or so he thought. Final key detected, said the machine. Command authorization, Rain status, living origin. Saraxa's eyes widened. You're the trigger. Rain felt sick. That's why the aliens kept me alive. They didn't want revenge. They wanted access. The machine spoke again. Would you like to activate Global White Protocol? Rain backed away. No, shut it down. Voice command denied. 2 keys required. Saraxa stepped forward. I'm the second key. Rain stared at her. You knew? I suspected. That's why I didn't let them kill you. The machine continued to hum, waiting for them to speak. Saraxa turned to him. We can destroy this now, together. But Rain hesitated. His mind was torn. The silence was terrible and but powerful. With it, they could stop the warlords, end the Empire's rule in one strike. No more blood. No more armies, one silent command. And all enemies would forget how to fight. We could use it, he said slowly. End the war without a shot. Saraxa's face darkened. That's what they said too. That's how it began. He looked into her eyes. She wasn't lying.
She had tasted power.
And it had burned her. Help me destroy it, she whispered. Before it takes everything, Rain nodded. They both raised their hands and placed them on the machine. Final key confirmed. Begin termination sequence, the machine trembled. Lights began to shut down. But just as the final countdown began, alarms blared. The door behind them exploded. A squad of armored aliens stormed in, elite enforcers of the Empire. Their leader stepped forward, tall with glowing blue armor and a cruel smile. You really thought we didn't know? He said. The Queen's betrayal was expected. Saraxa stepped forward. You won't touch it, the commander laughed. We already have. He pressed a device on his wrist. The silence stopped humming. Its lights turned red. Override detected. Third key initiated. Full wipe in 10 minutes. Rain fired first, dropping 2 guards. Saraxa activated her personal shield. The chamber became a war zone, but the weapon was already waking up. Voices screamed from inside it. Not real screams, but memories. A flood of thoughts, names, and faces. Lost forever. Rain shouted over the chaos. How do we shut it down? Saraxa replied. We can't stop the countdown, but we can destroy the core. Rain aimed at the power tubes. He blasted one. Sparks flew. The room shook. The alien commander charged at him. But Saraxa blocked him with her blade, clashing steel against steel. Rain fired again, and again. The silence screamed. Not like a machine, but like a dying god. A blinding light filled the chamber. Everything turned white. Then, silence. Real silence. Blinding white light filled the chamber as the silence weapon cracked apart. Its shell burst into shards of black glass. The humming stopped. The machine's voice vanished. The memory screams faded. Then came the silence, cold and complete. Commander Rain lay on the floor, gasping for air. His head rang. His fingers burned from the heat of his rifle. Dust floated in the air like ash. The weapon was gone. Or so he thought. Queen Syraxa stood nearby, her armor scratched and burning at the edges. She had taken a blast meant for him. Her blade was gone, her shield device sparking. Yet she stood tall, staring into the center of the room where the core had been. Now floated a small black sphere. It pulsed gently like a heart still alive. Rain aimed his weapon. Is it still active? Syraxa didn't move. Her voice was quiet. That's not the weapon anymore. That's the last part of its mind. It's looking for a new host. Rain lowered his gun slightly. Then we destroy it. Right now. But Syraxa stepped between him and the sphere. No, she said. We don't destroy it. Rain's eyes narrowed. What are you doing? She looked at him, and in her eyes he saw something different. Not fear, not sorrow, power. I've seen what this can do, she said. Not just destroy minds, it can rewrite them. Clean them, control them. Rain froze. That wasn't the plan. She walked slowly toward the floating sphere. Plans change, Commander. You saw how close we came to losing everything. My empire is already collapsing. Your rebellion is spreading. I need this. Rain stepped forward, weapon raised. We came here to stop the silence, together. Syraxa turned to him and her voice was colder now. I never promised that. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. After everything, the memories, the escape, the battle, they were right back where they started. Only now the enemy wore the face of the one person he trusted. I saved your life, he said through clenched teeth. And I saved yours, she replied. More than once. Where even now? The sphere floated toward her as if drawn by her thoughts. Her hand reached out. Don't, Rain warned. I have to, she said. I can't let this galaxy fall into chaos. Rain shook his head. You're not saving the galaxy. You're trying to rule it, she paused. Is that so wrong? You humans want peace. So do I, but peace needs control, order, strength. Rain raised his weapon fully. Then I'll stop you. Like I stopped them. For a moment the air was still. Then Syraxa moved faster than he expected. A sharp pulse of energy knocked his weapon from his hand. It slid across the floor. She didn't attack again. She just stood there, hand above the black sphere. Rain coughed, pushing himself up. You lied. This whole time you lied. No, she said, softer now. Everything I told you was true. I remember the forest. I remember the fire. I remember your voice. She looked at him. Not as a queen, but as the girl he once saved. I never forgot you, Rain. That's why I brought you here. That's why I kept you alive. I needed someone who could unlock it. Someone who wouldn't run. Tears shone in her glowing red eyes. I wanted to believe there was another way. But there isn't. Not for me. Rain's voice cracked. You're choosing power over hope. I'm choosing survival, she whispered. And then she touched the sphere. A burst of black light shot through the room. It struck her chest, not like a weapon, but like a breath. The sphere melted into her skin. Her eyes widened. Then they changed. The red glow turned gold. She floated above the ground for a second. Her armor fell away. Her voice echoed in the chamber, but it was no longer just hers. System integration complete. Host accepted. New identity. Empress Syraxa. Voice of the silence. Rain stumbled back. No. She looked at him, same face, same voice, but something behind her eyes was gone. Or maybe something new had taken its place. I still remember you, she said. But that doesn't change what comes next. Rain grabbed his weapon. Then I'll stop you. But Syraxa vanished in a blink of light. Teleportation. Gone. Taken by the silence. Rain dropped to his knees. His chest hurt worse than any wound. He hadn't just lost the mission, he had lost her. Behind him alarms blared again. Enemy forces had found his location. He stood slowly, wiped blood from his mouth, and picked up his rifle. The galaxy had a new enemy, and she wore the face of the girl he once saved. Rain poured over the shattered towers of Earth 7. The rebel base hidden beneath the mountain roared with life, people running, weapons loading, comms blinking red. But in the center of it all stood one man, silent, Commander Rain. He wore the scars of war and betrayal. His eyes no longer held hope, only fire. His mission had changed. He wasn't just fighting for freedom now. He was fighting to stop Empress Saraxa, the first voice of the silence. She's not the same anymore, he told the rebel leaders. The machine didn't control her. She welcomed it. A rebel captain frowned. She was your ally. She was more than that, Rain said. But now, she's the weapon. The silence had already started to spread. Across 3 systems, people vanished. Not physically, but mentally. Entire planets stood still as if asleep. Eyes open, mouth shut. No memory, no thought. No resistance. Rain slammed his hand on the table. We strike the capital now. It's our last chance. But she'll be expecting it, someone said. I want her to, Rain replied. That night, ships rose from the hidden rebel hangar. Old Earth fighters, stolen alien cruisers, and jury-rigged bombers flew through the black sky like sparks against the dark. Inside one of them, Rain sat alone. His ship was quiet. He held a small device in his hand, Saraxa's old communicator, broken, burnt, but he kept it anyway. He whispered to it, not knowing if she could hear. You don't have to end like this. I know there's still something human in you. But silence answered. The fleet reached the capital just before dawn. The alien city was no longer shining. It was cold, quiet, and dead. Every light glowed red. In the sky, a huge black structure floated like a second moon, the silent spire. That's the control center, Rain said into the comms. Take it out and the system dies. He and his strike team landed on the tower's surface. The doors opened without a fight. No guards, no traps, just a message written in gold light across the walls. Welcome home, Rain. He walked through the halls like a ghost, past machines that didn't move, past statues of soldiers he had once fought, all silent now. Then he reached the heart of the spire. She stood there, waiting. Empress Saraxa. Her armor was smooth black and gold. Her eyes glowed with strange power. But her face was still hers. Calm, beautiful, familiar. You came, she said. I always do, Rain replied. They stood in silence, surrounded by ancient machines. The room pulsed with energy. A clock ticked above them. 5 minutes left before full activation. You could have left, she said. You could have escaped. Rain stepped forward. I couldn't leave you behind. She laughed softly. I'm not the girl in the forest anymore. No, he said. You're worse. That cut her, but she didn't show it. I offered peace, she said. Control is the only way. If everyone obeys, no one suffers. Rain's voice cracked. That's not peace. That's silence. He lifted a small device from his belt, a pulse bomb. It would shut down the spire, but it needed to be placed at the center. Right behind her, she saw it and didn't move. You'll have to kill me to place it, she said. Rain took a breath. I don't want to. Then don't, she whispered. Stay. Help me rebuild this galaxy. For 1 second. He thought about it. Then he stepped forward. Slow. Steady. Sure. She raised her hand. A blast of energy struck him in the chest. He fell hard. Smoke rose from his armor. She walked toward him. Her hand shook. I warned you. He looked up at her, bleeding, and smiled. So did I. With his last bit of strength, he rolled and placed the bomb at the core. The room exploded in light. The machines screamed. The power shattered. The silence collapsed, and Saraxa fell to her knees, gasping. Her eyes flickered. Red. Then silver. Then human. She looked at him, trembling. Rain, what have I done? He reached for her hand. You came back. Tears fell down her face. I'm sorry. I know, he said, closing his eyes. The spire shook around them. The ceiling began to fall. Rebel ships arrived and began evacuating the team. Rain and Saraxa were the last to leave. When the spire fell from the sky, it didn't scream. It was silent, truly silent. Days later, the stars were free. The silence was gone, and Rain stood on a hilltop on Earth looking at the sky. Beside him stood Saraxa, no crown, no armor, just herself. "I have a lot to fix," she said. "We both do," Rain replied. Above them, a new dawn began. And this time, it was real.